What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast, a video game show. I'm one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined across the table by my co-host, Rachel Mogan.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno to you as well. How are you this fine day?
Sore.
Really?
Over the weekend, one of my friends who's been doing personal training for like 3 years, I finally took her to my gym with me, and I was like, teach me how to use all of these really intimidating machines that I don't know what to do with.
Yeah.
Thank God it was a
Same. That's my
Saturday,
experience.
and no one else was there. So she taught me how to do all of these, like, because I have exactly zero upper body strength. So she taught me how to do a bunch of like basic maneuvers that I can start building up some muscles, and I'm out of shape, Jerrett.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm feeling you on that too.
Yeah.
Because we on Saturday went. I'm also feeling the effects of some work and working out and whatnot. Because Saturday we went on a hike that was only supposed to be 2.8 miles. Somehow we drug it out to 4.2 something. So we like doubled it.
Standard
Almost.
mosey for me, but okay, go on.
Well, but it was very hilly. It was very up and down.
yeah.
Lots of big rocks to step over. Creeks to go across.
Where
it was.
were you?
We went to Turkey Creek Basin.
Oh, I'm
It's
actually
out
not
by
sure.
Emma Long State Park. It's
I
like
don't think I've
right
ever
before the
been
entrance to it. It was a very nice trail.
I
You should
should
check it
go
out.
visit. Yeah, I should.
But yeah, a lot of up and down, a lot of trail crossing and stuff. So pretty pooped by the time we were done.
Well, we need to stop playing so many video games. And
But we
start
can't,
hitting the
Mogan, because
gym
we're
more.
in the number one, the highest point of the year right now for
We
video
are.
games
We
coming
really
out.
are.
And we're going to talk about one of those big ones today here at Team Chat Podcast, where you can listen to us talk about the games we love, the games we hate, and everything in between. New episodes come out on Thursdays, and you can listen to those on podcast services around the World Wide Web. And you can also watch a video version of each episode over on our YouTube channel. Links for all that are in the description below. Find us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can join our Discord server where we have a lot of great conversations about video games and non-video game related topics when we're not here recording the show. And finally, if you'd like to support the show and make us bigger and better, just like my Face ID won't work to unlock my note. Here
Your
it goes.
face is too-
Just like Elise F, Super Saiyan Ace, Zach S, Mariah S, Susan M, James K, Ben W, Michael B, Fuchsia Rascal, Andrew M, Michael S, Brandon W have done and gone over to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast. Mogan's coffee is a little too hot.
yeah,
and
it was
she's
a little
just-
too hot.
And she's also just shocked by how many people's names are on that list. Thank
That's
you all
what it
very
was. I
much.
didn't just take a hot drink of coffee.
Thank you very much, everybody. But you can head over to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show. In return, we'll give you cool perks like getting the episodes early before their general Thursday release. Still getting used to that
Close
one.
call.
Access to a private channel on our Discord server, the Rogues Gallery, as well as early access to, if we do something early, you get it early. You also have special emotes that you can use on our Discord channel as well.
Exclusive.
It's exclusive ones. So a lot of great little benefits that we're giving and looking into adding more all the time. But if you can't do that, no big deal at all. We totally understand. And there are other great ways that you can support the show, such as telling your friends, writing us reviews, following us, and subscribing wherever you listen to or watch the show and enjoy our content. So, but to each and every one of our listeners, viewers, and patrons alike, we love you. Thank you for being here. Heart emojis.
I didn't forget this time.
didn't.
I was
You're on top of
I
it.
was mildly paying attention. A rarity for me.
Yeah. Not a rarity. Okay, is it?
Am
That's
I
true.
ever
You also say that you phase out a lot.
I
during
phase out the
intros.
whole time.
I ask you so many like deep, personal, hard-hitting
Yeah, and
questions,
they
and you
just-
just I'm just met with a stare.
Yeah, I'm just like looking vaguely over
waiting
your
for me to keep
shoulder.
going.
My eyes typically land on one of your, what I assume is a Star Wars gun.
Yep.
And yeah, it's like
It's Han Solo's blaster.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's what I said.
Yeah. I know. I was just providing the subtitles.
Anyways.
But anyway, we got a great show coming up because we, like video viewers, you may have seen the hint that we are talking about this beautiful video game coming up here soon. Horizon Forbidden West. Our first impressions. Aloy here, little statue got set up because we're featuring, nice little trend continuing from last week. We
And
had
this is-
Vincent Valentine.
Yeah.
This week we got Aloy.
Even though, we really weren't talking about Final Fantasy or Dirge of Cerberus, but
But-
he kind of fit the theme.
Today, though, definitely fits the
Yeah,
theme.
fits the theme.
But we're also doing a little bit of a change up this week. Going to test around with a little bit of switch with our content in that we're going to save the moment of Mogan until later. We're going to
save it
jump
for
right
last.
into
Yeah,
the
we just-
juicy
we just really wanna
bits
talk about it.
right now because, we just can't contain our excitement anymore. And I can't contain my excitement to be able to hear your thoughts on this because, ladies and gentlemen, regardless of the slander that Mogan has been strewing about on the Twitter and the Discord about how I'm supposedly
He's forcing
her to play
forcing
Horizon
me.
Forbidden West. Could not be further from the truth, and I have the receipts to back it
I'm
up.
pretty sure that I bought it after you, and now I think I'm ahead of you.
Yes.
At least in terms of hours. Maybe
Yes.
not game progress, like story-wise, but hours-wise, I think I'm ahead.
But I'm just saying, I'm just clearing the air. Because, like, I didn't say a word to you about, like, hey, you should play
It
this
was a
game.
lot
Because
of
I knew
pressure.
you didn't play the first one.
Like, if you actually go back to the Discord chat, I'm the one that's like, hey, I think I should buy Horizon.
Exactly. That's what I mean. And now here we are.
For the show.
I know. I'm just kidding. But like but now here we are. I've seen you now been
Yes.
playing it for several hours, and now I just can't wait because I know you didn't play the first
Yeah,
game.
did not.
So you're jumping into Aloy's adventure here with the second. But yeah, let's dive in. Let's get into our first impressions. Now, we'll just let everybody know this is a very new, very big game. So we're not really going to be
not
talking
even-
story stuff.
I mean, we're going to talk about some
little
of the
bit at the beginning.
intro story stuff, and I will have questions and or commentary based on what I have gleaned from the first game
Right.
story.
Okay.
So there's no way around it. We're going to be talking about major story stuff from the first game that is also introduced in the prologue
Right.
of Horizon Forbidden West.
But I'm more talking about Forbidden West story.
No,
It's not like we're going to be spoiling like story beats and everything. This is mainly our time to be like, we've had this many hours into the beginning of it. We're talking about what we think of it so far. But yeah, so I'm just going to throw it right to you right off because I just can't wait anymore. I've resisted so hard to ask you what you think so far, and I just got to know.
So
what do you think so far?
My first thing is actually a question.
Okay.
Because I want to know about this in comparison to Horizon Zero Dawn. How heavy were the exploration factors in Zero Dawn?
They were pretty heavy. Like I knew there were lots of different collectibles you could find. I believe they're in this one too. Like I want to say, like there are metal flowers that you can find that are just like these things that you can find in different places. There's obviously like data documents and like data modules and stuff to like get like the books and whatnot
So
to
there
get
was
background.
all kinds of optional, non-necessary explorative stuff that you could have just
Oh, yeah,
gone
yeah,
off
yeah.
and done endless side
It's
quests.
it's very it was first game was very open world,
Jerrett,
just like this
you
one is.
should have led with that. If you had told me that Horizon Zero Dawn was basically just Breath of the Wild, I would have been like, oh, okay.
Okay, so here's the thing. After playing
you
this
tell
one,
me?
no. I
Okay.
don't think I did because I don't think at that point I had played either Breath of the Wild or this other game that I think it closely aligns with. But now playing Forbidden West, I was like, oh my God, I should have made a stronger case.
It's Breath of the Wild.
It's
I mean,
Breath of the Wild tied with Monster Hunter.
It is, yeah. It's the two of them combined, and when I'm saying it's Breath of the Wild, that is very, very high praise. I
Yeah.
love Breath of the Wild. They are obviously radically different games, but my very first impressions of Horizon Forbidden West, after I got through all the fucking tutorial stuff,
got to with a big
I
game
know,
like this.
got through all the tutorial crap, and it really started to open up, and I was able to just sort of go wherever I want. I am having the Breath of the Wild experience again, sort of. Not quite in the same way because it's a little bit less whimsical than
Sure,
Breath
sure,
of
sure.
the Wild, but it's a very
I'd say Breath of the Wild is more whimsical.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I'm saying,
okay.
I'm saying
Oh,
Forbidden
okay.
West
Sorry,
is the
sorry.
less whimsical
I
version.
got 'em mixed up. Sorry.
And you know I'm a big fan of the whimsy.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit less whimsical and fantastical than Breath of the Wild, but it's very, very addictive. I have for sure been. I purchased it on Saturday. It took 3 hours to install on my PS4 because it was a big honking file.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as it downloaded and I got home from somewhere, I don't know where I was, I think I played for at least... So Saturday night, I played for maybe 2 hours,
Sure.
maybe 2 to 3 hours, and honestly, I was not sold. When it
Oh,
first
really?
started, I was like, I don't know about this, because it just wasn't clicking yet. I was like, I'm kind of bored.
Okay.
I was a little bored during the beginning. I didn't really care about most of the story stuff that was happening, and I frankly found it annoying that so many people from Aloy's past kept showing up and being like,
Like immediately showing up.
immediately showing up and being like, hey, so you like abandoned us and we're sad. And I'm like, fuck off.
Which I gotta be honest, I did not remember the ending of Zero Dawn being that abrupt that she just like pieces out like that.
Yeah.
I didn't remember. It was in my plan to be able to try to replay Zero Dawn before this one came out just didn't happen. And so like I was
They're
a little
two very big games,
Yeah.
Jared. We've
I mean,
got stuff to do.
Well, I know, but I was gonna very much I platinumed Forbidden Zero. Jesus, that's gonna be hard this episode.
well,
Trying to say
this
the right
is
one.
Fievel Goes West, and the other one is
is an American Tale.
An American Tale. They're very different experiences.
Very true. One is depressing, the other is lighthearted and whimsical. But anyway, in Zero Dawn, I did not remember that and everything, and I platinumed Zero Dawn, and so I knew that if I did go back, it would literally just be a quick zip through the story.
Yeah.
Probably play it on easy, just to like go through
Oh,
again. But so I didn't remember that, but I do that part, and this is a slight story. So basic premise. Let's go into the basic.
Yeah,
premise.
we probably should.
This
start with
literally
that.
does take place. It appears right after the events, or very shortly following
I
the
think
events.
somebody said 6 months.
Okay,
I think
okay.
it takes place approximately 6 months after
Post
the end
Zero
of
Dawn.
Zero Dawn.
Got it. So, and basically, Aloy's still out there and discovers that the threat that they thought they'd ended in Zero Dawn is still very much present,
Yeah.
just in a different place,
Yes.
and is still wreaking havoc. And she is still trying to save Earth because it looks like Earth is on a crash course for the apocalypse 3.0,
Yeah.
2.0, whatever at this point, because we've had the Ice Age, whatever killed out the old Earth.
Exactly.
Then here we go again.
I mean, we can
dinosaurs.
talk
So we're
about
about
that
Apocalypse
stuff.
4.5.
Yeah, because that's all lore from the first game,
I
right?
know. Yeah.
So,
but no, I just mean like in general Earth history.
Yeah,
like
in
we've already
general
had
Earth history,
we've already had several apocalypses.
So
This is
I
just the
think
next one.
that so this has all been really helpful information for me because I love futuristic sci-fi, especially when it gets so far into the future that our modern society has destroyed itself somehow or just fallen to the wayside, and there was a long period of nothingness, and then new societies rose out of it. Very Conan the Barbarian.
But it's also very like I love how they have like these bits of technology.
yeah, no, that's
But
what
then
I'm
there's
saying.
also like this, like the fact that the people and it's just that's one of the things I love about the atmosphere and the setting of Zero Dawn Forbidden West is just that you have these primitive yet advanced cultures, like older culture or less.
They're
developed,
very
I would say.
new.
They're
Okay.
new, but then like coexisting besides these very obviously technologically advanced machines and remnants of a vast technological age. And I really, really, really
Me too.
like it's a cool combination.
Yeah, it is. So the gist for anybody that isn't familiar with Zero Dawn, and I'm just going to say it because I feel like all of this stuff, if I had kind of known more about it, I would have been like, yeah, I'm super
Man,
interested
I'm
in
sorry.
that.
I feel I let you and the game down.
I mean, I could have looked into this myself, and I just never bothered to because my interest level in Zero Dawn was so low.
Just
I was just
nothing.
like,
Yeah.
because what I knew about it was person with bow and arrow, cool, everybody
Mm-hmm.
likes that, and then robot dinosaurs, and I was like,
lost me there.
yeah, it kind of lost me at the robot dinosaurs. But what I now understand is that so at approximately after the year 2059, more or less,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm basing that on a data point from Forbidden West, where somebody specifically mentions like, oh yeah, we're going to launch this giant space probe in 2059, which is only a couple of years away, and then shit went to hell. So in approximately 2059 Earth, a bunch of machines, I think, go crazy in something called the Doom
Because what happens?
Plague?
What happened is that Faro Industries, led by Ted Faro,
Yes, Faro Industries.
Faro Industries. Thank
I
you.
don't know which one it is.
No, I think you're right. It's actually Faro. He created these machines that basically at one point went rogue, could not be controlled anymore by human controllers.
Killer robots.
And basically, their function is that, and then they started destroying and consuming biomatter
Something
to be
mentioned
able
that
to
they
fuel
were
themselves.
all like military grade.
Yes.
So they're virtually indestructible
Yeah.
war machines.
that just started killing everything.
Everything.
And to consuming it to become their own fuel. So obviously the Earth was destroyed.
Yes.
They put systems in place to be able to bring the Earth back, and that's where Aloy and like all of this other stuff come into play.
So that comes from an advanced terraforming technology that somebody from the before time created, and that's kind of how we got like a reboot.
Right.
Earth got a soft
Gaia
reboot.
is what it's called.
Gaia. So Gaia is this like magical, mystical AI that managed to recreate Earth, and then in the events of the first game, there was a virus. Is that how you would describe Hades?
Hades was another component because there were like all these different AI subsystems that were supposed to help rebuild the Earth. Gaia being like the big terraforming one and kind of like the overall one. Then there were other parts to it.
I think Apollo
like one of
is
them,
like history and
yes,
stuff.
because that one was destroyed, that was going to be the one that like, okay, here's your base system. And then Apollo was like, here's how you do all the things.
Yeah.
But somebody destroyed that one, so like you don't have it. So like that's why the people of Earth aren't back up to where they were at the point of when the apocalypse occurred.
And that's why they know so little about what they call the Ancient Ones.
Exactly. So it's like there's these different pieces of it. Hades was one of those pieces, and I don't remember what his main function is, but now he's just creating chaos.
Yeah, it sounds like the whole purpose of Hades is to destroy shit.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. So it's now you're on this next part of your quest, trying to figure this out, and in the course of that, you discover you have to go outside of the Sundom, which is like the main area where you've been in the first game and everything, and now you're gonna have to move into the Forbidden West because that's where you feel the threat of Hades is now going.
Yeah. So at the events of the first game's end, I gather Aloy thought that Hades was like destroyed, taken care of, totally resolved. Turns out that is not the case. No. It has instead been sort of preserved in a way and taken west.
Yes.
So she's like, well, fucking shit. So the most immediately visible effect of Hades in the world is that the terraforming system is kind of out of control.
Yeah.
Which means that there's this what do they call it? The
contamination, blight.
The blight.
The blight.
Yeah, they call it the blight. It's like this red, weird, not fungal.
It's like an ivy or like it's like a vine growth.
Yeah, it's just like this red poisonous ivy or vines that's like going all around the land and just basically destroying agriculture, which everybody needs to survive because they're not at an advanced state where they can find other ways to create food.
Yeah.
So if they wind up starving to death, they will all be dead again. So like Gaia is out of control. It's destroying everything, and Aloy has to figure out how to fix it once again.
Yep.
So she's headed out west, and she like has to just go through all of these people.
So yeah, that's what I was saying. Let's circle this back around to where we were in that like you were getting frustrated in that you were running into all these people who were basically like, man, you left us really fast.
Yeah, and I was just annoyed with it because it was the same conversational plot point again and again and again of people talking to Aloy and being like, hey, you disappeared. What was up with that? And she has to explain it again and again and again. And I'm like, bitch, I fucking heard you the first 5 times. I don't need to hear it again.
Yeah, but I like too that she's also not like super direct with it. It's all like very vague in her thing. She's like, I just gotta go do this, and everybody's just like, well, that's really fucking annoying. We'd really like you to be here because you saved our asses.
And I also like, I'm not gonna lie, I like Aloy. I don't love her because I do find it very annoying that she won't just tell people what's happening. And
she is very blunt. She's very dry, and she
also loves to avoid what's actually happening.
She definitely is very aloof in a sense. It's like she doesn't want the title and people like calling her savior or like all this other stuff and like the savior of the world, but like she also acts like she's the only one who can do things.
And she says it many, many times.
Yeah.
She's very like, I can't have allies. It's too dangerous.
Right.
And that like archetype of a personality has always been so annoying to me. I'm like, get off.
Just help. Just get people to help.
Get off your high horse.
Yeah.
They can help in some way. Who do you think you're buying all your weapons
Well,
for?
I mean, she's also, I mean, I'm sure later on in the story,
oh, yeah, for sure.
There will be some like, she's like, I can't do it all myself.
Yeah, they're going to have like my friends are my power.
Exactly. So, I know we're going to get that.
Yeah.
But so what point then did it start clicking for you where you're like, oh, okay, I see what this is?
When I kind of started to get past all of the people from the past.
So like when you left Meridian?
No, not when I left Meridian, because you still meet quite a few people in and around Chainscrape. There's Petra, then
Petra's
you run across Erend, and I think maybe you meet a couple other people that Aloy vaguely knows, but they don't appear to be her super good friends.
Yeah.
So after Chainscrape, kind of like in and around Chainscrape, and then really kind of when I started to get out of it and get through all that story stuff,
interesting.
I was like, okay, now this game is fun.
So that's interesting. I'm just now. So you think you've played what were you saying here? About 10 hours, you think?
I think I have played at least 10 hours because I've been playing like the kind of gaming session where your butt kind of starts to hurt and you're like, oh my God, I need to get up. This is not good for me.
Well, I mean, I think we can just end it right there, this episode right there, because that's the perfect first
Review.
impression of this game.
My butt hurt
from playing it too much. I had a nice round butt, now it's flat.
Now I have a flat butt. Gotta go do squats at the gym. That should be the new rating system. How many squats to fix your flat butt is it going to take for this game?
Oh, man.
That'll be 5,000 squats.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That
fix
should
Horizon
definitely be our new
Forbidden West.
review metric. How many squats?
How many squats to fix flat butt?
Earlier in the week in our Discord, it was seafood cuisine. Now it's
now
butt
it's flat
squats.
butt syndrome.
Flat butt syndrome.
My FPS is acting up today. I've been gaming too long.
Oh,
boy.
shit.
Anyways.
But, okay, so you've been playing about 10 hours. I've only been playing, I think I only got, because you're right. You've actually passed me. I'm like at 7 hours.
Have you made it to Barren Light?
I did.
Okay.
That's where I actually just got.
All right.
Because I went to Chainscrape, the first place outside Meridian that you get to, and I had just been doing, I know I'm going to platinum this game already.
Yeah.
So I'm already laying the foundation. I don't care how long this game takes me.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of the thing, because I can already tell even some I'll get to that in a second. But basically, I don't care, so I'm already laying the groundwork. So I got to Chainscrape. I did all the side quests. I found all the question marks that I could go to and do in that area. Then I'm like, cool, I got it, which I always love because here I am derping around doing all these things. And Aloy in all of her conversations like, I really got to go.
Yeah. In every conversation. Like, she meets her old friend Petra, right? And Petra's like, oh, yeah, let's go have a beer. And Aloy's like, no, sorry.
I gotta go
save the world. And
but then I still
like,
wouldn't go have a
that
beer.
beer would have taken 15 minutes. And then I just spent 3 hours climbing a random mountain over there just because I was like, looks tall, want to climb.
Want to see what's up there.
I want to see what's up there.
That's what I'm doing. So yeah, and then I was kind of like mad at myself too because of like on Friday night when it came out, or I did play Thursday. Like I waited until it unlocked so I could play at least a little bit before I went to bed. Friday I had a shoot that day, and so like it got to Friday night and I'm just exhausted.
Yeah.
So like I was trying to stay up late and play it. It got to like 11:30, and this happened again Saturday night too because we did that long hike, and it got to like 11:30, and I was sitting there in dialogue cutscenes going,
oh my God, Jerrett.
I gotta wake up. Or just like feeling like, oh, I'm losing focus because I'm getting sleepy.
I should have brought you those fancy Four Locos that I
Man,
got.
yeah, I know.
They're good.
Are they? Okay,
yeah.
I'll
Man,
try those out.
I did feel a little crazy after drinking when I was like, I've never had this sensation before.
What's going on?
boy.
But yeah, so I only got to like 7 hours. But yeah, I just got to the next big place.
Barren Light.
Barren Light.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the gist of Aloy getting west is that there are many blockers in her path. The most immediate one being a rival culture called the Tenakth.
Yes.
So the Sundom, the Karja, that's who they are. First of all, quick aside, I've already got a peak husbando identified, obviously.
I knew who it would be.
Why didn't you put this in your review, Jerrett, of the first game? Why didn't you mention that Sun King Avad was such a husbando?
Right? He really is.
So when I first met him, there's like that woman and her son kind of trailing along with him. So I was like, oh, he's taken. And then come to find out, that's not his wife and son. Those are some other random people from like a...
I think it's his
his brother's wife, yes. Because more stuff from the first game that I didn't know. So apparently there was a guy before King Avad called the Mad Sun
That
King.
was his father.
His father.
So I think this is like that's actually technically like his.
It's his mother-in-law.
Yes, and his uncle. Then I guess. Idaman, the little kid.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
right?
Jesus.
Isn't that how that would go?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, unless they're following the typical like lineage of our current monarchies.
Oh, I hate that.
But anyway,
yes, the point is there was somebody else ruling the Karja. He was batshit crazy. He was a warring guy. He raided all of these outlying different tribes, I guess you would call them.
Yeah, because the people in Chainscrape are Oseram. They're that tribe.
So the Tenakth are one of the people that the Mad Sun King was raiding, but they're a warrior culture. So they were like, bitch, you thought.
Yeah.
And they fought them back all the way to Barren Light. So the Tenakth's territory is basically a massive blocker between Aloy and just the nebulous the West.
Right.
So the first kind of big hurdle she has to do is find a way to safely pass into Tenakth territory without them just killing her on sight.
Sure.
So that's kind of the basis for the initial story beats of the first potentially 10 to 15 hours that you will play of this game. And I have to admit, aside from the people from your past whose except for Avad, love that conversation, everything about it. I love that like at the end of your conversation with Avad, because I was like, oh yeah, this king dude, he seems pretty all right. Didn't really start to pick up until like a few conversational points in that he's like, So,
You want to come live with
I
me in
mean,
my palace?
yeah, like maybe you can stay. Like he really kind of does phrase it that way. He's like, I mean, I was hoping you might stay in the palace for a while.
Kind of like have some wine.
I
and some
mean, you know,
grapes and
maybe we
just
could go and get to know each other better. He totally has
compare our flat butts.
He totally has a huge crush on Aloy, and I was like, this is the cutest shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, when a lot of the times, characters like that who are like in charge, they wind up being total assholes. Avad's just a cool, chill guy.
Right?
He doesn't even want to be king.
No.
He's like, no, actually, when Itamen gets to be of age, I'm going to let him take the throne because I don't really want it. I never had designs on that. Which would make me perfect for going adventuring around with you after he comes of age.
Buddy.
You want a traveling buddy. And what a cute conversation. I loved that one. And a lot of the other people that you can talk to who sort of go into new story territory, like at the Tanakh embassy, we'll call it. There's like this point where you're talking to the Tanakh and their marshals, and there's this... Probably haven't gotten this
I haven't got here yet, but that's okay.
Never mind. I'll just say that there's this guy that you meet, and he has a very long but really interesting conversation that you can just go the whole way through. Mm-hmm. The annoying point about that conversation is it's so long that it keeps pausing the conversation for Aloy to be like, go on, or I've heard enough. It's like, commit to the conversation. I don't want to have to manually hit that I want to continue the conversation. Just keep talking. So there's a lot of interesting conversations that you can have with various people, and I really like how much just crazy effort they must have put into that.
Right. I was going to bring that up as an aside.
God.
Like, we should talk about that. How good those like dialogue scenes are.
How good the dialogue scenes are, not just in the fact that it's interesting dialogue, it's well written, but in how well acted it is.
And like again, I know you're on PS4 and I'm on PS5. I don't know like how much difference there is yet, but I don't think it's really that much.
No.
Their facial expressions, animations, and just they're not just like blank slates that they put a new face on each time.
They're very
each
lively.
one is a legit new character, different person, different personality.
Yeah, the only people that are kind of repeats, because I've seen at least a couple of the same pub woman who's drunkenly wandering around. Like, obviously the non-important
Right, I'm talking about like the
NPCs.
main people that you're talking to.
The main NPCs, like even just different shopkeepers.
Yeah.
They all look really different, and they all have wildly different facial features and different body types, and it's just incredible the amount of effort that they must have put into planning all of that out, recording all of those voice lines for each different scenario that you could kind of go in for any of those, and then actually acting them out and animating them. So the amount of effort that went into the narrative points of the game is truly astonishing.
Well, and I even had that same thought with the first game.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like
Now that I
remember
kind of
the first
seen
one,
it, I'm like, I bet this was the same in the first game.
You could go back to the first game, and like I know there would be some like graphical quality differences that you would notice, but good God, it's still an amazingly beautiful game. You should, like, if you like this one enough, I think you should go back to Zero Dawn at some point. But still though, I had the exact same thought again with this one. Like after the first dialogue scene, I was like, good God. It's so like not cinematic scene, just like here you're like
just
having a typical
scenes.
gameplay conversation. I was like, it was like, but out of the level of a cinematic. And you know what I mean? Like, and so it was just that again blew me away. And I was like, how cool that happens twice, you know, that you were able to like make it so well done that the same thought hits me again for the sequel of the game, you know, that I was like, geez, this looks really fucking good.
It looks incredible. And it plays very well. So couple of notes. This is going to be really similar to some things, to some feedback that I had about Kena Bridge of Spirits.
Sure.
I suspect that this is just for the PS4 version. For the most part, the graphics are extremely beautiful. Everything runs really well. I'm not noticing all this. So in Kena, I obviously had a lot of stuttering in areas that were really asset heavy. All of Horizon is asset heavy, and I have seen no stuttering.
They've got that thing. Like,
so in terms of how smooth the gameplay is, it runs beautifully. However, I actually had a really funny one today. So I was walking up to like this sort of fortress looking place, and it was somewhere that I hadn't been before, and there was a big wall, and then I was kind of looking up into the sky, and there was this thing floating in the sky, and I was like, what is that? It was a man. And when I got close enough to the place for him to render where he belonged, he just kind of dropped
that's
onto
really
the
funny.
wall and to his standing spot. And I was like, wow. So there are a couple of weird little visual glitches like that. And occasionally, and I notice this more with the formal cutscenes, there will be this split second where you can tell that a texture has not yet rendered in.
Sure.
So with dirt, if it's a cutscene, it might go to the dirt and it just appears to be smooth sand, and then bam, it'll render, and then it's actually real ground.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a few instances of textures just not rendering in immediately. It takes them a hot second to kind of populate in. And a couple of weird lighting things, just when I'll be looking at something and my view will not change, and then all of a sudden the lighting changes because the game kind of realizes oh shit, I'm supposed to adjust this.
I did see something from Gorilla that they apparently did have to put out a fix to fix something with lighting. It was a shimmering issue or something like that. So maybe that was fixed. They said you have to you have to download. You have to quit the game for the download to update itself, and then you have to restart the game again after you do it. You have to restart it twice.
Mode. Okay.
So and that should fix it. So maybe that will fix that problem. But I will say I did also notice tiny little instances.
Just tiny ones.
I was talking to this one time that I noticed it was I was talking to a guy who was standing in front of a tent, and the side of the tent was blowing in the wind. Some of the threading texture, and it was only because it was close up. It is the only reason I noticed this. Some of the threading texture was going in behind the tent tapestry, then in front of it as it was blowing in the wind.
Yeah.
So a little bits of things, but again,
things
so
that are
minor,
so small that mostly it's just a fun little hey, look at that guy floating in the air.
Yeah,
that's
hilarious.
hilarious.
That makes me laugh about it.
Yeah, so it's nothing that is bad in the sense that it takes you so far out of the game that you can't still play it.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, all I care about is that it runs well and that there's no lag or stuttering. None of that. So the couple of little texture and rendering things, just the small visual notes, are so far the only thing that I've really found to, other than the past NPCs who I all hate, other than all of those people, except Vod, other than all those people that I don't give a shit about, everything else has
so
been...
you don't like anybody else except Avad? You don't like Aaron?
I actually don't
You don't
really
like
Aaron.
Petra?
Petra seems all right.
Aaron, kind of annoyed me in the first game. The interactions I've had with him so far in this one, I've liked him a lot more.
Interesting.
So
I would have hated his guts in the first game because I don't even like him right now.
He's kind of a little bit with the full of I am bravado, I am all that is man.
He's such a Gimli, and it's
right.
Oh god, you're so
that's
annoying.
A perfect description. It's a little bit higher, kicked up a notch in the other one. I'm excited. I'm interested to see how they do it. But I also like that he's just less somewhat of a sad little puppy dog with her too. He was so sad when you talked to him, and he's you just left, and she's
but again, that's when I was like,
I don't care, damn it.
Get out of here. So him and who's the Varl? So
Yes.
Varl's the first guy that you meet. First of all, he should have kept that beard because eventually in Forbidden West he does shave it off, and you're like, oh god,
No, why?
yeah, oh Jesus, he looks so much worse with it. He really should have kept it, but because of his name, Varl, the only thing I can think about every time he's on screen is Carl. It's just Carl.
Where are the walkers, Carl?
That's all I can think about is just The Walking Dead.
Varl.
Yeah, Jesus. So Varl, I honestly don't really like. He's okay. Varl I like more than the others so far. He is all right.
Yeah.
But I hate that they keep reintroducing him so that Aloy can just tell him, I'm sorry, I have to do this alone. It has happened multiple times
Oh, really?
now. And
so
I'm
yeah,
like,
you are a little bit more ahead then.
it keeps happening. So I'm like, just get him out of here. If he's not actually coming, get him out of
Yeah.
here. I've got stuff to do. So I'm a little annoyed by parts of the story, mostly as they relate to the previous game, because I just have no emotional stake in that.
Right.
But the gameplay is really just the shining
That's what
diamond in the rough.
That's what I was about to transition to. So we've hit on these story beats and everything, but how has it been especially since you're saying it's scratching that Breath of the Wild itch for you. How is it how is this lining up for you? How are you thinking about the gameplay, the combat, the crafting, all that different stuff?
So the crafting, I feel like I still don't fully have the full scope of what I can and should be doing with
Sure.
it. For example, I've been playing, for about 10 hours now, and just because I'm lacking so much of the historical context from the first game, there are things that I'm kind of just now picking up on because the game does sort of explain them in the tutorial. but not a lot.
You do have to. I'm still like relearning some parts
Yeah.
of it too myself.
So if, in particular, I'm kind of just now realizing that attacking a creature with your melee weapons it does not do the same effects as specifically aiming to shoot off actual body parts.
I will say, bow and arrow for machines, melee for humans.
I now realize that because now I'm like, oh, okay, I see the difference now, because humans and machines both have like pieces of their body that are armored, and when you melee those, they can fall off and they allow you to do more damage. But machines have actual like machine parts that Aloy needs for crafting stuff, like horns or a tailpiece or their blaster blaze
or they're like
cores.
elemental
they're
canisters.
like canisters. So all of these things that you can physically see on them, obviously I see them, but it took me a long time to realize that when you just kill a machine regularly, if you haven't shot off the body parts that you want, they just die with the machine, and you then can't like collect those.
Right. Have you used the focus to like scan a machine?
Yes.
Okay.
So I've been using it the whole time.
And you can see
I've
that
just,
it like shows like the different parts like will be destroyed if killed, will be destroyed.
See, I didn't
you
read
didn't see
that part.
I didn't see that until
like,
later
I was just
too. That's a
highlighting
new
it, and I was
addition.
like, okay,
I feel like that's new
here?
from Zero Dawn.
Okay, gotcha. So yes, I have just now realized that, okay, if there's something from a machine that I very much want, like a horn, I have to actively shoot it off first, or it will not be around when I kill the machine.
Which, how hard is that to do when you're fighting like 5 different machines all at once?
Impossible. It is impossible.
It's complex.
So this game does have a concentration.
Yes.
So when you're using your bow and arrow, you have to upgrade it. It's an upgrade, but you can get a hunter skill called concentration, which allows you to aim with your bow, press in the R3 button, and it, air quotes, slows down time
a little bit
to make it easier for you to shoot the monster.
You can upgrade that to make that better.
I know. So I actually have. I've already
Now you
upgraded
have,
it a
and
few
it's still
times,
hard.
but it's still like it slows down time a little tiny bit.
It's not very
much.
forgiving.
It's
like
not very
it really
forgiving.
isn't. The first like big machine you fight in the game, and I was trying
the
to
snake?
and
The
trying to
heck-a-stick?
like knock off its canisters and everything.
those things on the side
I was
of
just
the
like,
face.
I forgot how precise you have to be. Like you have to lead with the bow. You have to like
do.
work with the arc of your shot. Like, I mean, typical stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. That's a Breath of the Wild thing. I was going to say that's not, I don't know if I remember that in Breath of the Wild, but sure enough it is.
It was,
but,
yeah.
But yeah, so it's just like one of those things. It's the typical thing, but I forget, like it feels even more precise that you have to be even more on target with this one than in even the previous game.
I mean, lucky for me, I'm definitely a bow user. Like when it comes to
same.
fights, I prefer long range and I strongly prefer stealth. So even though I tried to be obnoxious in my brief playthrough for Skyrim, this is a game where I'm like, no, I'm going for
Full archer.
stealth. So I'm totally like in my skill tree. I've made the most progress with my hunter skills and my stealth skills. Warrior skills, I've got like the basics, but not much because I'm like, I ain't fighting people.
That was exactly my thought
Yeah,
process too. I'm upgrading my bow and like anything that gives me concentration, health, and different stuff like that to be able to take down monsters or the machines because that's what I'm fighting right now.
I'm not fighting people out here. So I know that it's probably going to become more important later down the line, but I have not upgraded my trapping abilities at all.
When you start fighting bigger stuff, I will say
becomes
you
more
will want
important.
to use some traps
Okay.
because I know on the little scrub stuff, like right now the basic level, like tripwires and bombs, like they're doing some damage and helping you out. But when you start fighting the big stuff, which I'm excited for when you get to do that, you're gonna want as much stuff to slow those bad boys down as you
I can imagine. So right now I don't really have a lot other than my bow and my spear and my slingshot.
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
shoots my little frost bombs. Love those frost bombs.
Aren't those great?
So helpful. Very helpful. But I think that's the only projectile bomb I have right now. I don't have any others yet.
So what about the like in combat crafting system? How is that? Because like, right now you can probably only hold like 20 arrows. Maybe?
Yeah. Well, I just
Of your normal arrows. Or
my
did you just
norm-
upgrade?
yes.
Okay, yeah. So, like, you can carry 20 of those, and obviously in a fight, you run out of those.
Oh, yeah.
How does that feel, like, being able to, like, quickly, using the radial menu to pull it up, craft new stuff? Like, how does that work? Because I don't remember that level of Instacraft being available in, like, Breath of the Wild. So, like, how does that compare?
So this is actually something that I desperately want them to patch into this game.
Yeah.
You should be able to collect your arrows. I'm looking at the monster. It is
wonder if
full
that's-
of my arrows.
I wonder
Let
if
me
that's an
pull them
upgradable
out.
skill later. I kind of feel like
God,
it
I
might
hope
be
so.
because I feel like that was something you could do in Zero Dawn.
Because I'm so like, because I can physically see them. I'm like, I'm the one who shot you. Let me take my arrows back.
Yeah, for sure. But at least the like normal arrows, you're super easy to craft. Like
They
if you
are,
run out of
yeah.
resources to craft your normal arrows, what are you doing?
So this was something that I'm definitely getting the hang of it. I really was not doing it optimally for a long time because basically as soon as I ran out of arrows while I was fighting anything, I'd be like, well, melee it is. Better get in there, champ.
Yeah.
So I would just run out of arrows, and then in my frenzied state, I'd just like, whatever, I'll just hit it with my stick.
And your sticks does not do a lot unless
It
it's like
doesn't-
stunned
yeah.
or...
I am getting better at melee, and I've been doing a lot of the introductory pitmaster
nice.
challenges because I'm like, I really suck at melee. I gotta get better at this. So I'm improving, but I definitely feel like the in-battle crafting system, it becomes easier over time. It did not feel very intuitive at first, but I get it now. Like, it is actually very fast, and the speed at which you craft can be upgraded. So you can kind of make that easier for yourself over time too. So I don't mind that at all. I actually think it's pretty fun. I like that it does because this is something that I feel like is the case with a lot of other RPGs that have these crafting systems. There's all this stuff that you can collect, and then I feel like a lot of the time you just don't need it.
Yes.
Like, it's just extraneous stuff that you never really need.
But then I hold on to it because I
But
think
then
I
you
might
hold
at
on
some
to it
point.
because you're like, I might need this.
Yeah.
In this game, you need that shit.
Oh,
you
yeah.
need all of that stuff. For a while, I was running past all of the various berries that you can collect that are your like field potions, basically, because I was like, well, I've already got a full pouch. I don't need these. Now I routinely run out, and I'm like,
But what's nice though, I kind of like it. It's like one of the things I was thinking about, and I couldn't decide. Is this is this cool, or is it just too complex of a thing?
No, I
in
like it.
the stash system.
oh,
In how like it works with the inventory, because like you can have at your disposal in your pouch, you have 10.
yeah.
You can have 10 like medicinal berries to help you heal. You can eat
You can
through
have
those
X
10,
amount of bombs,
but you can
a
have
certain amount of rocks. Blah, blah,
exactly.
blah.
But you can collect more than that.
And they just
and then
go
when
to
it
your
goes your
stash.
stash. So it's one of those things. It's like I can't decide how much, because then like with the medicinal berries, it's not with everything, but with the medicinal berries at least, you can hold the button and it'll automatically restock
Yes.
them even if you're out in the field.
Yeah.
But then you can go to your stash in a town and restock on everything.
Which I like that system for a couple of reasons. Mainly that, again, I'm kind of comparing this to other games that have these sorts of crafting systems. The ability to stash craftables makes me much more likely to actually explore.
Yes.
Because I'm like, yeah, there's probably stuff out here that I need, and it doesn't matter that I don't have space for it because it can go directly to my stash.
And that it's an automatic transfer,
And that it's
not one you
automatic.
have to do
Yes.
yourself.
So none of this, I'm carrying too many dragon bones and I can't move, and there's no weight, obviously. There's no inventory weight, which is a godsend.
Another nice thing, yes.
Yeah. So as far as like the quality of life stuff goes with inventory management, I feel like it's very easy.
Yeah.
So really like all of that. I love how the world is just full of stuff that you can collect, even if you're like, I don't know what I might need this for. Like, I just realized I finally found her.
Oh, yeah?
I finally found someone that can dye my clothing.
Oh, nice. I've gotten hints to that too.
Yes.
Yeah, I've like picked up certain flowers or whatever, and it's like,
then
oh, I
it's
should
like,
take that
oh,
to
yeah.
a dyer.
The
Yeah.
minute that Aloy said that about a plant that I picked up, I was like,
Okay, that was one of the things though I was going to bring up that I have really loved about this too, is how much there are hints to what you're supposed to do just
In
in
Aloy's voice
Aloy's
lines.
voice
Yeah.
lines. For example, I was going out to do one of the side quests from Chainscrape, and I left the city just running off on my own 2 feet, and Aloy says, I might want to override a charger so I can get around faster.
yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
oh, duh. I was in the mindset from Zero Dawn that you had to learn that skill. And because you
But
couldn't do
Aloy
that at the
already
beginning. She already
knows it.
knows it. And I was like, oh,
Right.
duh, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was like, oh, thanks for the reminder, Aloy. And then I got a charger and I'm going on my merry way.
She'll also do that when you like scan a creature, even if it's not a new time, but if you scan something, she might mumble under her breath like, oh, I should hit that thing with acid arrows. And then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, thank you. I needed the reminder.
I know. Now I don't have to necessarily read this
Yeah.
whole like tab of information.
You can. So if you go to your, basically your menu screen, and if you scroll over to your notebook, book. It calls it
Yep.
the Notebook. You can look more in depth into what different creatures and people you encounter are about, and with the machines, you can get a better understanding of what they're weak to, what they're resistant to, and maybe what kind of damage they deal. Quick aside, is this a burrower?
This one is actually a watcher. This is okay. So everybody watching, this is actually the statue from Zero Dawn Collector's Edition. I did not, sadly, get the one for Forbidden West because I was like, I don't have room for it, even though it's so cool. And
You need another house.
I do, right? I need another house just to store more of my collectibles. But no, this is actually a watcher. So it's like the scrub level, the burrower of Forbidden West.
So burrowers are the cutest little creatures I've ever seen in my life, and I don't want to kill them.
But you have
They're
to.
just cute little ferrets, and the way that they just kind of like pit-pat walk around when you're not bothering
And then
them.
stand up and look around.
They're just like, oh, what's going on? They are so cute. I hate all of the other machines, but I love the burrowers. And there's this one, it was just part of a side quest, and it wasn't even part of the side quest. There was this one little watery cove that you could dive down into. It wasn't even like on the map. It was so inconsequential. There's this one little cove that you can dive into, and there's a couple of stashes down there that you can get stuff out of. And for whatever reason, in that cove, there is precisely one burrower just kind of swimming around in the water.
Oh,
like,
I hadn't seen one swimming.
He's just having a good time. And I was like, he's so cute. I love him. So I just like watched him for a long time, and I'd like go around rocks to like not bother him, but just watch him swim around. And I was like, because he looked like an otter.
Yeah.
He was just being a cute little robot otter. And I was like, this is the best. I love everything about this.
I'm excited for you to get to see more of the machine design because they're really cool.
I think that cove is actually really close to Barren Light.
Oh, okay. So I'll have to go try to find it.
If you leave Barren Light to the south, like the initial exit, and hook a hard east, you should run into the side quest that you kind of find that burrower on, which also led to my favorite NPC that is of no consequence so far. He's just one of the guards from the Karja, and he was like on watch or whatever, and a man fell down a cliff and died. So the guard is like trying to haul his body away.
Oh no.
But you can talk to the guard, and he's like, fucking had to happen on my ship. Like, he's so salty about it. And then you can hear a woman screaming up the cliff because this guy clearly wasn't alone, and somebody else is in danger up top. And Aloy's like, are you gonna go? She literally says like, are you gonna go help her? And he's like, no. She got up there of her own accord. I'm not gonna go help her.
She can get down.
And then Aloy presses the issue. She's like, are you really not going to go help her?
Yeah.
And he just looks at Aloy, like pauses in his dragging of this corpse. And he's like, you really are? No, thank you. And he's so sassy. And then when you get back down the cliff from saving the woman that was up there, you can talk to him again. And he like says a very normal line. And Aloy's like, oh, so have you decided to be cordial now? And he's like, no, I was just making small talk. Get out of here. He's my favorite NPC.
Oh,
you
that's
gotta
great.
go find him.
I'll have to
He's
find
the
him.
best.
That's great.
So anyways, the game's also chock full of humor in the margins if you can find it. And it's very, very funny. I think his name is like Melev.
Okay, I'll have to see if I can find him.
Mekleave. It starts with an M and has a lot of E's in it.
All right, I'll see if I can find him out.
Yeah, he's the best. Where was I going with that other than to say that burrowers are really cute?
I don't know.
Excuse you.
Phone calls trying to...
Yeah, so the burrows are really cute. I am getting much better at machine combat. I have gotten to the point where I've been able to mount the basic chargers so far. Don't love it.
The writing?
Don't love the writing, mainly because I am accustomed to Breath of the Wild rules, which is if you get on a mount and then you put that mount on what is clearly a defined road, it will drive itself. These do not do that.
See, I hate the horseback riding in Breath of the Wild.
Oh, I hate the mount riding in Aloy's Adventure Goes West so
It
far.
took me a moment, I will say, to get used to the fact that it's not a hold. It's it's like 3-stage press of the X button.
Yeah.
It's like X, go a little faster, a
X,
little
go a
bit
little
faster.
faster. Yeah.
X, now you're running full speed.
That I'm fine with, but even when you're running at full speed, I feel like you are not going very fast.
Oh, really? I felt like it was going pretty good.
No, I was like, I'm pretty sure I can run faster than this. So I have barely used the mounts because they're clunky.
Yeah.
I don't like how they steer.
They will help you fight, though.
I know.
which I actually like use that to great effect earlier.
okay.
I like ran into it. I was like helping some people who were getting ambushed by like 4 or 5 burrowers and a couple other things. And I just ran in there on my charger and just like wrecked shop with the charger. So, I mean, it can have benefits.
I did upgrade a few skills on the mounted charge or the mount tree, but it is definitely not my favorite aspect of the game. That's one, and like the trapping that I feel like I'm only going to use when I have to, and everything else, again, largely because I'm enjoying the exploration so much, I just want to do it on foot.
Oh, yeah.
Just let me wander around and do shit, and I'll come back to the story later, and then maybe if I need to... Because you also have fast travel, which is just another nice quality of life thing. You can fast travel between fires and camps that you've set up. So I just... Like, the mounts, I'm having trouble seeing the value in them because you have so many other options.
Right. And two, it's like... It is one of those things like I've enjoyed running around on foot, doing my own thing. I have enjoyed just like slowly riding a charger through the countryside and seeing what's up. But yeah, that's what I like about it is that there's so many options to do everything, and it doesn't ever get boring. Like the side quests have been great.
Really doesn't.
I am having a great time trying to look for collectibles and just doing all the various things that are in these places. Like other games like. Perfect example, Far Cry 6. I like a game that you can do a lot of derping around in that one too. But I just kind of hit the point and I was like, I'm going straight through the story and I'm not stopping along the way.
Because the side quests are boring and they don't get you that
just
much.
inconsequential, or it's just like take that checkpoint.
Yeah.
This one is a lot more like there's you meet interesting characters and interesting storylines on these quests. You go and like even in these small little entry ones. In fact, one of the quick little quests that you get at Chain Scrape has been one of my favorite interactions so far.
Which one?
With the cook, Milhuff.
Yo, my other husbando. He's my retirement husbando. If Avad dies an early death, Aloy's gonna go marry Milduff and be just like a pub lass.
So did you do his quest?
Yes. And he's so nice.
His little interaction and like how he does things, but I loved his cooking sequence, and that's when I was like, "Oh my god, it's like from Monster Hunters. He's the Meowskiller chef."
He's the Meowskiller chef. I had the exact same thought. I was like, "This is the best."
But I love how he's like
played Monster Hunter, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this is everybody likes this. We need to put some of this in our game."
But I love just his character too, and how he, it's like there's this one guy who's like the town bully. Everybody doesn't like him, and this guy who's like I already got my revenge. I made him soup, and I put 3 pinches of salt instead of 2.
Because he's like, I put 3 pinches of salt, and there's this pause, and Aloy's like, okay.
Oh, that's it. That's what you did.
And then
okay.
He's like, it only got. He was so fun. That was such a good side quest.
And so, like, there's just all these great moments, and it just is ridiculously creating such a great world to you that you want to explore.
Immersive. Yeah, it's an incredibly immersive game. And in terms of like something that adds a lot of value is when you have a lot of variety in the types of places that you're going and the types of people you're interacting with, because I think Far Cry is probably a good example. There's not a ton of variety in like the types of NPCs that you can interact with. At least on a visual level, like I've gotten to a couple of different settlements right now, and I just got to one that is wildly different than the other ones, and their city, air quotes, fucking rules.
Well, but then also just the changes of geography from Meridian to even Chain Scrape.
It's incredible. It's beautiful and incredible, and it's such a beautiful world that it really does you just want to hang out in it for a long ass time.
That's why I wound up like platinuming the first one, other than just the fact that it was a great game. I was like, I don't want to leave.
I'll never leave.
And that I can already tell, like within the first couple hours of this one, I was already like, same. I don't want to leave. Yeah. Like everything about it just feels so good. Everything about it feels so great. And so I really can't wait to get into the rest of the story.
Obviously,
but also, I also don't want it to end.
Maximizes and makes incredibly good use of the photo mode.
Oh my god. Yeah. That's another reason I have only gotten so far. I've taken so many pictures.
Oh yeah, I keep having to pause for photo shoots. I'm busy. I'm doing stuff.
It's a very well done.
Every time Aloy's like, for the gram.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
You can do the poses and the faces. I love it. It's so great.
So I was shocked that the photo mode is so in depth, because you can turn off the like presets, and you can turn on the, what's it called, like the distance between.
Oh yeah, the focal length.
The focal length. You can change the aperture. You can change the
lens type even.
Yeah, the lens type. There are so many different options that you can mess with. There are obviously built-in filters. You can just sort of reposition the camera however you want to when you enter photo mode.
And get ridiculous close-ups too.
You can get ridiculous close-ups.
I put a close-up of Aloy's eye, like as close as you could get in our Discord, and it's ridiculous.
And something else, which I really wish Kana had actually had this option, you can turn player character off.
Yes.
So if you just want a really nice like landscape, which is what I'm all about, you can basically just make Aloy not be there.
Yeah.
And it's like, thank God. Like, as pretty as she is, I'm trying to get a sweet mountain starry night sky, and she's messing with the vibe. So if our listeners want team chat wallpaper packs, let us know, and we'll put something together for you.
Our best shots from Horizon.
It's at the $5 tier on Patreon. But yeah, the photo mode is incredibly in-depth, and I'm really, really enjoying it, along with all of the many other things about the game that I'm enjoying, except for all the people from the first game.
Sure.
Except
but you're going to meet so many new
he's
people.
The best. Yes, they're going to meet so many new people.
It's all going to be good.
Like all of them.
Man, you have no idea, Mogan, the joy and jubilation that I felt when your message came through that you were like, so I think I'm going to get it. And I was like, yes! I was so excited because I just knew, especially after I started playing it and I got those hints of since I'd played the games of Monster Hunter Breath of the Wild before, and I was just like, oh my God, I kind of knew, I was like, oh man, I messed up. She should have played this game a long time ago.
Yeah.
So no, the fact that you like picked it up on your own and I didn't have to force you, I was just so happy.
So interestingly enough, as much as I'm enjoying Forbidden West, I have had this thought multiple times of like, I don't think I'll go back and play Zero Dawn.
Oh, damn.
And not for any particular reason. I just feel like Forbidden West is already fulfilling the requirements.
Well, it's
so
already
like,
fulfilling the requirements.
Why would I want to go back and play the other game?
Totally.
Yeah.
It's definitely fulfilling the requirements. I understand that because I get that it's fulfilling the requirements for you and for me, but it's also already exceeding what I had. So I totally understand how you're going to go back now and be like, I like it, but it's missing X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah.
I can just already tell that I would be frustrated with parts of the story from the first game because I understand that Aloy was raised as like an outcast and other people are like, oh, you're weird or whatever. That would have annoyed me. Like the whole Aloy being standoffish thing and other people being like trying to interact with her or hating her. I would have just been really annoyed by all of that and been like, just do what Link does. Don't talk to anyone. Just lean into being a hermit. You don't need these people. The other thing, I know you've told me about this before, for sure, but I think I forgot that from the first game, Silence?
Yes.
He's like your mentor, right?
He's like, yeah.
He teaches,
you meet him later in the game. Like I want to say like halfway through. Your actual mentor, who I am sad that you won't get to meet because he's only in the first game, is like Aloy's father figure, Rost. Such a good character.
I got them confused.
No, Silence you do see in the opening cinematic of Forbidden West.
Yes.
Why am I going blank on his name?
The only reason that I bring this up is because it's Fringe Man.
Yeah, Lance.
It's the head of the Fringe
Why am I-
department.
Reddick?
Lance Armstrong.
Reddick. No, not that one bald cheater. It's
They are both bald though, so that could be the same man.
Sorry, one bald. He only got the one testy. That's what I was going for.
Got him.
I didn't realize. Yes, that sounds like it said one bald man.
That's hilarious. It is Lance Reddick.
That's
and
okay.
I know him from, he's the head of the Fringe Science Department from cult sci-fi classic Fringe.
He's also the maitre d' in John Wick movies.
He is.
Concierge.
When we were at the gym the other day, me and my friend, they were playing John Wick.
Nice.
For some reason.
Get amped while you're working out.
Yeah, we were like, what is going on here? Because it was like so bloody. And I was like, it was on the TV labeled HGTV. Like it had a little sign under it, but it was just John Wick.
This isn't Fixer Upper.
I was like, I usually watch, what's it called? Oh, but the Property Brothers.
Yeah.
I was like, this isn't the Property Brothers. I knew so little about the John Wick movies. Didn't know that John Reddick was in it. Didn't know Willem Dafoe was in it. So I was like, I gotta fucking watch this movie when I get
They're
home.
great. They're great movies.
Anyways, that's neither here nor there. My point is, if I had known Fringe Man was in it, I would have been like,
I told you that because I knew I was excited about it when I talked about it in Forbidden West. Zero Dawn. Damn it, I still can't get them together.
Yeah, if we go back and check the receipts, I'll know that you probably told me, and I was probably like, no shit, fuck yeah, that's awesome. And then it immediately fell out of my brain. So yeah, very excited to see Fringe Man in anything. He's one of my favorite actors.
He's great.
He's so underrated. He should be in all movies.
He should.
Period.
But you know what everybody else should be doing? Just like how he should be in all movies, well, everybody should be playing Horizon Forbidden West because, good God, it's amazing.
Honestly, I agree. So it is also very... I hesitate to say very accessible for a specific reason.
Oh, I meant to bring this up too.
Yes, but so as far as the accessibility from a difficulty standpoint goes, from the get-go, it has a story mode, an easy mode, normal, hard, and I think very hard to start with.
I'm playing on very hard. I'm wanting to punish myself, but
I'm
I
playing
want to make it
on
last.
playing on normal mode. So I like that they have both an easy mode and a story mode.
Yeah.
I like that there are both for the people that are just there for stuff like the exploration. They maybe don't even want to fight that much. I totally get it. So I like that there are so many options for difficulty. However, one of our listeners, longtime listener Snooty Boots, he noted in the Discord, and he is colorblind, that there's no colorblind setting.
Which I was talking about him. I was playing some Apex with him last night. I was like, dude, I don't get it. Like, that's dumb.
I don't get it either. So on my other...
We were both like, that's like the base level one.
That's the thing is like some people, I think people maybe don't understand. If you're not affected by it, you probably have never noticed, but so many games have colorblind settings. Splatoon, the first one, had colorblind settings because in one of my other servers, somebody was like, "Oh yeah, well, they don't have it because the game is like so vibrant and colorful." And I'm like, "That's the point.
That's the point. It needs to have one for that reason.
Because people can't see those colors, they need the colorblind settings to make it a more enjoyable experience for them. So I hate that that's not a feature. I don't understand why it's
I
not.
don't either. Makes no
really is. That's like a base minimum standard.
I've seen them. I've seen people on Twitter sharing that they're excited to see that they have the option to turn off tinnitus sounds in the audio, and they're like, "So cool!" And I'm like, "That is cool."
I need to turn that on. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, but I'm like,
yes.
but why no colorblind?
Yeah, why would they have tinnitus sounds, which I've never heard of in another game before, and then not have a colorblind mode? So, I mean, like I said, it's not something that affects me personally, but I know people that it does affect.
Yeah,
So it sucks that that's not
should
a
be able to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I mean, obviously it's still playable, but it's not optimized.
It's not it's not optimized. Not the experience that everyone else is getting.
So that is one of the few other cons that I can lodge against Forbidden West at this time.
Right. And of course, these are only our first impressions, which obviously we've had a lot of them. But we're going to wrap up once we finally, whoever knows how long it gets to the game. We're going to have to just we'll either have to do installment updates.
That's not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea, yeah. And then since we're both playing it, and I'm assuming going to be sticking with it for the long haul.
Oh, yeah.
And then maybe we can do our full review once we finally at least finish the story. Because then at that point, we're just platinuming it. We're going for those trophies. But yeah. But this has been our first impressions of it. Let us know what you think by sending us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com. Writing us a note on our Discord, commenting, all the great stuff. Let us know because we'd love to hear your thoughts on it as well. But before we go, though, we do have to do our moment with Mogan and find out what games are coming out soon in the upcoming days. We've already been talking so much about Horizon Forbidden West. Don't worry, we're not going to load you down with a lot of news stories. But hey, in case you're like, you know what, I'm not at my computer right now. I'm not where I can get to the Google, and I want to know what I can buy this week other than Elden Ring. Mogan, what can they get?
So actually, believe it or not, this whole month is just jam-packed with games.
It's ridiculous how many games.
It's unfortunate, actually.
Because on top of all this, and we already know Elden Ring, and Horizon Forbidden West came out, and then what was the other big? Sifu earlier this week. Then the fools over at CD Projekt Red decided to finally drop the PS5, Xbox Series X versions of Cyberpunk 2077 last week.
What a couple of dumbasses!
It's so stupid. Why did you do it at this time?
What a bunch
So
of
I'm like,
fools.
cool. I've got that now to finally look forward to and be able to play. Yeah. But that's a couple months down the road.
It sure is.
But anyway, what's new and coming out soon?
Out as of this week, in addition to Horizon Forbidden West, Destiny 2 The Witch Queen. I know at least one person that is really jazzed about this, so that is out for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, and Xbox One, and Stadia, and PC, obviously. Sol Cresta is out for PS4, Switch, and PC. Edge of Eternity is out for Switch. Martha is Dead.
Oh no,
I wonder
poor
if it's
Martha.
about Martha Stewart. Oh, Snoop Dogg is going to be so sad. They're best friends. Is out for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Never Alone. Wow. Never Alone is getting a Switch port, which seems really late. That game is like 8 years old.
Yeah, that is an old one at this point.
Whatever. That's out for the Switch as of this week as well. Oh, Atelier Sophie 2, The Alchemist of the Mysterious Dream. The Atelier games are actually very popular. Is out for PS4, Switch, and PC. Elden Ring.
There it is.
Comes out at the end of this week for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
So what is that? That's the Friday? So
That's Friday.
the 25th?
Yeah, 25th.
Boom.
So as much as I do want to play Elden Ring, mostly because they claim it's maybe easier than the other Soulsborns.
But you're already looking at that and you know what? You're like, I've already had that flavor of the day. It's time to taste something new.
I probably won't be able to pick up Elden Ring for at least a couple of months because I really do anticipate minimum 60 to 75 hours in Horizon.
That makes me happy.
There's no chance. There's no chance that I'm going to get to Elden Ring for a good long time yet. Yeah. And then closing out the end of the month, which poor guy up against these titans, Grid Legends. Who knows what that is?
I don't know what that is.
That's out for PS5.
F's in the chat.
F's in the chat for Grid Legends. For PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Also on the 25th. And that's closing out the month of February. Truly a bomb. Sifu,
Just
Horizon Forbidden West, and Elden Ring all in 1 month. I don't know how the gaming industry has got to talk to each other more. They need to space these out.
For real, they do.
Where was Horizon in January? Fucking nothing came out in January. Jesus. Save it all for the end of February.
Man. They're mad lads out there.
I know.
They're just going crazy.
Anyways, Fievel Goes West rules. You should play it.
Go play it.
What a fun
It's
game.
fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic.
Go spend some hours.
And
Because we will be too.
if you're not sure about the first... also, I guess I should have made this clear. You don't have to have played the first game.
Oh, no. They set it up.
Yeah. You absolutely do not need to have played the first game. Just go straight into this one blind. You'll be like, I hate all these annoying people from the first game.
Give me to the new people.
Give me to the new people.
Let's go.
And then you can just jump right in and have a grand old time.
Awesome.
10
Well,
out of 10.
you know what we're going to do? We're going to go and
Yeah.
keep having a grand old
I
time
need
back
to
in
go
Horizon.
home and play Horizon.
You're like, I have a day off.
I have a
this
day
is enough.
off.
No more of this bullshit recording, Jarrett. We got to go.
I have to go flatten my butt back out.
It got popped back out too much.
It reinflated. I got to go flatten it again.
All right, everybody.
boy.
We'll go play Horizon Forbidden West because we will be too, and we'll see you out there in the Forbidden West. But until next time, everybody, have a great week, and we'll see you for our next episode.